Brandon Braga has been out talking quite a bit, and he's making a lot of sense. I'm wondering how long before he gets blacklisted from Hollywood or anything, or if he is already, or if he just doesn't care because he's made enough money on Star Trek that it doesn't matter. But this one is particularly telling, and he's dead right about what's wrong with modern, current, new Trek, Kurtzman Trek, whatever you want to call it. This is a big, big story, and I'm glad to report it here, guys. So thank you for subscribing to JDA Talks Trek. We got over 1,000 subscribers monetized thanks to Trek viewers like you. I'm really excited. So this is an exciting way to get the channel going, and I appreciate you all being here. I am a science fiction writer myself, so if you do want to get that feeling of what old Trek was, this is my Valiant Frontiers. I've got a full trilogy of novels, and we're about to get to about 100 backers, which I appreciate. Grab the digital. I know it's a tough economy, but digital's not much. It's 3 ebooks for $15, which is $5 an ebook, about what you'd pay for an ebook anyway. And so you could read it here, and I hope you'll really enjoy this. I'm very, very proud of this work, and it's very much in line with what Trek should be, in my opinion. So I think you'll enjoy it as well. It's in the description and below. Thank you for supporting our channel and being here. All right. So Rick Berman and Brandon Braga just said what fans have been thinking for years. Modern Star Trek sounds too much like 2025, and it's killing the immersion. This is not just Trek. This is all science fiction and fantasy media lately. It's been painful to watch over the last few years, as you are aware, and it's been terrible. They've been ever chasing, like we talked about yesterday, and I showed about the Starfleet Academy. Watch that video because it's telling. They're chasing this modern audience, right? And that modern audience doesn't exist. It's not here. And like trying to appeal to that within the bounds of science fiction destroys the science fiction credibility. It really does. So at a recent appearance at Decon Chamber podcast with Connor Trinner and Dominic Keating, the two executive producers, by the way, how many podcasts are there with former actors at this point? I mean, it seems like every former actor of every genre show. Like, we've got the Smallville guy, we've got the lady from Battlestar Galactica. I know that doesn't Cirque Lofton, Jake Sisko also do one? My gosh, it's like every podcast. They never invite me on for whatever reason, but that's that. But they went on there and for nearly 2 decades discussed the franchise's approach to language. And Braga explained the philosophy guiding their era. He said, writing Star Trek, Rick, you can probably attest to this more than anybody, it's a particular thing. The tone is kind of a timeless one. It's a bit more formal, but at the same time, you don't want it to be too stiff. You don't want it to be tainted by contemporary idioms, but at the same time, you can't be free of them. Very, very insightful analysis on how to write the voice of a science fiction show that's serious well. Very, very good. That balance is what made classic Trek work. The characters sounded professional, intelligent, evolved like people from better future who moved past the petty concerns of our era. They didn't talk like your coworkers at the office, or worse, modern high school students. Now, Berman pointed out a specific example for modern Trek that violated this principle. I found this very, very telling, that they're actually sniping at Kurtzman Trek. That means Kurtzman Trek might be on its way out, because otherwise they're usually kind of silent or neutral on these type of things. He said, I watched an episode of the newest Star Treks where people were saying things like, give me 5. That just doesn't sit right to me. It's a certain classical element to Star Trek. And that's, of course, talking about the Vulcans episode. One of the worst. Honestly, the Vulcans episode was worse than the musical episode to me. I think it was offensive as a Star Trek fan. Terrible. Having Patton Oswalt be a Vulcan sex god or whatever. I mean, it was just, I wanted to vomit. I really did. Terrible. So he's right. He's talking about Strange New Worlds episode 8 of Season 3, The Ghost of Illyria, Part 2, where Spock teaches the Vulcan character Doug and Patton Oswalt about human customs, including the high five. The scene plays for laughs, but it's jarring. Spock explaining the high five in 2259 feels like a sitcom bit, not Star Trek. The gesture will be 300 years old by that point. Will someone in 2025 explain a handshake to a visitor? Contemporary framing breaks the illusion that we're watching the future. Now, to me, there's way worse than this. Discovery committed the worst offense in the 5th episode of Season 1, Choose Your Pain. Cadet Tilly, this is before she gained all her weight, dropped the first F-bomb in Star Trek history. After a scientific breakthrough about the spore drive, she proclaimed, "You guys, this is so effing cool." Clearly a reference in the writer to "I effing love science." You remember that Facebook page? Oh my gosh, cringe. And that's exactly what this was. And they would go like, "Yes, science, wow." And it was painful, but because there was no real science involved. It was like the worst pseudoscience you could ever imagine in Discovery that just made no sense. And that, again, is just a modernism that was painful. The moment made headlines. After 5 decades, Star Trek had finally said the F-bomb on screen. Some praised it as breaking outdated taboos. Others saw it as exactly what Berman and Braga warned against: contemporary language that dates the show and undermines the setting. The problem isn't profanity itself. The problem is the context and execution. When Data said, "oh shit," in Star Trek Generations, it worked. Data had just installed his emotion chip, was experiencing feelings for the first time. The Enterprise was crashing into a planet. He blurted out the first thing that came to his mind in the form of a curse word he'd heard humans use in moments of panic. The scene was funny because it highlighted Data's inexperience with emotions and the absurdity of the android swearing. It was a character moment that made sense, and that's why it worked. Tilly's F-bomb had none of that context. She was just excited about science, and it drops a modern curse word because the writers thought it would be edgy. There's no character reason for it. It doesn't reveal anything about Tilly or the 23rd century. It's a writer putting 2017 into 2017 language into a character's mouth because streaming allows it. Likewise, when Kirk said "double dumbass on you" in Star Trek IV The Voyage Home, it was funny because Kirk didn't know how to swear properly. He was a 23rd century officer trying to blend in with the 1980s San Francisco and failing. The joke was that the profanity had become unfamiliar to him, a relic of humanity's less enlightened past. The scene worked because it reinforced the idea of Star Trek's future that was better than our present. Wow, I'm a good writer. I write these articles, by the way. People, there's a lot of YouTubers out there that just read articles, right? I write them. So that's what I do. And if you like my writing, again, check it out. By contrast, Picard Season 1 featured Admiral Clancy telling Picard to shove it up your ass during an argument. Picard himself dropped an F-bomb in Season 3 while arguing with Captain Shaw, which was painful. These moments are meant to show the characters are real and relatable, but they accomplish the opposite, especially when you see an 85-year-old Patrick Stewart going, it's just painful. They make the characters sound unprofessional and petty, like people who never got past 21st century emotional immaturity. Discovery Season 3 took contemporary language insertion to another level, past the swearing and stuff, with Adira Tal. In Episode 8, Scavengers, the Trill character, played by non-binary actor Blue De Barrio, comes out to Stamets and asks to be addressed by they-them pronouns. This season is a direct transplant of 2020 gender identity politics into a 23rd century, complete with the exact terminology and framing used in contemporary discourse. "I've never felt like a she, or a her, or even ma'am," she said. "I don't even really know what I am." Stamets responds, "Thank you for sharing that with me, and whether who you want to be." Oh, wow. Please clap. The scene plays like a PSA on pronoun respect rather than a moment in science fiction show set 1,000 years in the future. The language is lifted directly from 2020's social justice discourse with "I've never felt like" phrasing that wouldn't exist in a society that presumably has moved past rigid gender categories centuries ago. If humanity in the 32nd century has evolved beyond our current understanding of gender, why would someone need to come out using the exact same language and framework if we use it today? And that's being generous, right? I mean, if we presuppose that needs to be done to begin with, that is something that's absolutely absurd given the context. The Trill species adds another layer of this absurdity. The Trill symbionts carry the memories and experiences of multiple hosts across genders. Jadzia Dax in Deep Space Nine had lived both as female and male hosts, never made an issue of pronouns because the character existed beyond the modern conventions of made-up genders. Adira's storyline reduces that fascinating alien concept, which actually has to do with the biology there, to a metaphor for contemporary non-binary identity, which is something that's actually rejecting biology. Pretty ridiculous. It's like anti-science in action. The same problems obviously plague Strange New Worlds. Characters use contemporary slang and idioms that will sound dated in 5 years, let alone 200. When Pike's crew talks like millennials at a startup, it breaks the illusion that these are professional officers in the 23rd century. They sound like actors reading a script last week, not people who grew up in a fundamentally different society. And this is true. This is why I call it like Star Trek for theater kids, because it feels like theater kids wrote it. It feels like theater kids are acting in it. It doesn't feel like it's something that's like real gravitas to it, where they're actually pretending like this is something real. It's like a joke parody of Star Trek when we look at this all the way around. So I appreciate that Rick Berman and Brannon Braga are being honest about this. Right after Brannon Braga was talking about how The structure of streaming seasons actually breaks things so you can't relate with these characters. The 10 episodes every 2 or 3 years, it's something that doesn't work. When, if you remember, they did this. They wrote these well. They actually paid attention to the dialogue and actually were edited better and acted better with 26 episodes a year. Imagine that, how much work they put into this stuff compared to what they do now. It's absolutely absurd. And what they care about more is what they think we care about more, which is post-production. They care about the flashing lights and the lens flare and all the cool CGI, hoping that's going to make up for this and distract us, but it really doesn't. You didn't need that. We go back and watch The Next Generation not because of that, but because of the acting, because of the character moments, because of the great writing involved. You go back to the original series, they really didn't have that much of a budget. Oh my gosh. And if you check out classic Doctor Who, I've been rewatching the Tom Baker era, and oh my gosh, they have like a guy running around in a sleeping bag that's like painted, spray painted green to like signify a bug monster. I mean, you don't need it, and it's still great. They're missing the mark on every single level, and this is a great, great interview with Brandon Braga and Rick Berman. All right, leave a comment down below with what you think about this. Please hit the like and subscribe button. Check out my Valiant Frontiers if you like my thoughts on writing. I think you'll enjoy this. It's in the description below. We'll be back soon.